Let's share, view, present. Okay, cool. And then, yeah. As fellow college students, we are all familiar with recreational substance use. Regardless of one's personal views on the topic, whether they're for or against it, many individuals stand misinformed about a lot of substances. Today, I'm here to tell you guys about one drug in particular, magic mushrooms. Also known as shrooms, they're a type of psychedelic. Psychedelic drugs are defined by their ability to produce hallucinations and apparent expansion of consciousness. There are countless differences between shrooms and other drugs. What I personally find fascinating is that according to ancient origins, they have existed for thousands of years. They grow in subtropical, humid forests in almost every continent. Historians have found ancient cave paintings all over the world depicting magic mushrooms, their consumption, and the visions people saw in them. Many of those paintings date all the way back to prehistoric times. Oftentimes, these drugs get a bad reputation because of the other substances they're legally grouped with. However, most of the time, this is due to individuals being very misinformed. So today, I hope to enlighten you guys with some mushroom knowledge. First, I'm going to tell you about their history so that you can better understand why their legal standing is what it is. Then, I want to inform you about a modern movement of microdosing. And lastly, share the benefits of microdosing that researchers worldwide have found. As I shared earlier, mushroom consumption has existed worldwide for thousands of years. However, according to Timeline, the Western society first stumbled across psychedelics when Albert Hofmann accidentally created LSD in 1938. Following the creation of LSD, scientists began exploring other psychedelics and also became interested in magic mushrooms. These drugs were sent worldwide to various research facilities and universities. Countless studies had found numerous benefits to the psychedelics, such as their ability to help treat depression, addiction, and possibly PTSD. Unfortunately, due to reckless individuals, these drugs escaped the lab and made their way to the public. According to Timeline, in the US, this began with a Harvard researcher and professor named Timothy Leary. In 1960, he started the Harvard Psilocybin Project to study the effects of magic mushrooms. However, after being caught giving psychedelics to students, he was fired in 1962. After being fired, Dr. Leary began urging the public to try these magical new drugs by the masses. And they did. The drugs made their way to college campuses and concerts and were soon being consumed on a mass scale. Individuals also started challenging central institutions and, most importantly, the Vietnam War. Despite all the positive benefits scientists had found in a rushed and panicked decision, Lyndon B. Johnson's administration banned all psychedelics and classified them as Schedule I drugs in 1966. Schedule I drugs are seen as having no medical purpose or value and have the most extreme restrictions and punishments for illegal possession. Due to that inaccurate classification, all research was rapidly halted and negative propaganda began to spread. Other countries had similar experiences and soon followed the US. For a while, these drugs remained on the down low, but now that several decades have passed, laws have been slightly lifted, and certain countries have started researching psychedelics again. Nowadays, the most commonly researched psychedelic is shrooms. The active ingredient inside that gives them their psychedelic properties is called psilocybin. Before the ban, studies looked at the effects of large doses that produce long and intense trips where individuals experienced auditory and visual hallucinations. Currently, research is more focused on the potential benefits of microdosing. So what is microdosing? Microdosing is when one takes 1/8 to 1/10 of a full dose of the said drugs. A full dose of psychedelic mushrooms consists of 3.5 grams. So a microdose can range anywhere between 0.2 to 0.5 grams. According to a study conducted by the joint efforts of several universities in Canada, upon microdosing, individuals experience greater open-mindedness, more creativity, better moods, and score higher on wisdom tests than their drug-free counterparts. These psychological benefits are what motivated individuals to try it. The trend began in Silicon Valley when many famous individuals like Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple, claimed that their success was due to the help of psychedelics. According to Truffle Magic, some other examples are Francis Crick, who co-discovered the double helix, and Abraham Maslow, the psychologist that came up with the hierarchy of needs. These numerous firsthand accounts and testimonies got scientists wondering if these benefits were real and if they could be proven. The answer is yes. Yes, they could. A study conducted by several universities in Europe and the Psychedelic Society of the Netherlands tested for cognitive enhancing effects of microdosing on human cognition. They did so by conducting an experiment that measures convergent and divergent thinking before and after microdosing. So convergent thinking requires the identification of a single solution to a well-defined problem. It draws more on the ability to focus exclusively on a given problem, so it's essentially persistence. On the other hand, divergent thinking requires the collection of many possible solutions to a loosely defined problem, so it draws more on cognitive flexibility. The volunteers were first tested using a variety of cognitive tests without being on psychedelics. Then, after some time had passed, they were given psychedelic mushrooms again and tested on the same mental functions, but with different tests to prevent learning. Results found that after microdosing, both convergent and divergent thinking improved. These two processes are seemingly contradicting, yet consuming psychedelics somehow improved both. According to the researchers of the cognitive study, this implies that microdosing therefore might promote the speed or smoothness of switching between persistence and flexibility, an ability referred to as adaptivity. A separate study published in the Journal of Psychopharmacology demonstrated that when individuals struggling with OCD were given psilocybin, they experienced less symptoms. Other studies published in the Journal of Psychopharmacology have found that psilocybin may have anti-inflammatory properties, may be helpful in treating ADHD, and produces an antidepressant-like effect in animals. These are just some of the positive results of the countless studies that have been conducted, and honestly, I could probably rant about it for hours. However, given the time limits, I won't. As you learned earlier, legal restrictions are just starting to loosen, and scientists are hoping to prove causation through placebo-controlled studies in addition to correlation. However, legally, they still can't. So hopefully learning about mushroom history and about microdosing and its benefits, you are able to learn and understand a new and more positive perspective regarding magic mushrooms. Thank you for your time. And here are sources.